2, 1.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Coast to Coast podcast. This is the Pro Bowl special episode. We're going to dive into, the official rosters now that they've been released and talk about, guys we thought should have made it and talk about, the guys that did make it. So let's just get started off with the quarterbacks. I mean, pretty much no argument here. There's a couple guys I would have liked to see in there, like Herbert, but none of these guys, all of these guys are having Pro Bowl level seasons for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to point out, we got the two guys at the head of each of their conferences. Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes are both fighting for the MVP award. And then we're talking about, as much as I love Deshaun Watson, he's been putting up great numbers. I think Ryan Tannehill's got to be considered here. He just came off a 5 touchdown performance this last week. And I think he has 35 total touchdowns on the season. And also if you're putting record into any factor in this, you got to put him ahead of that. But then again, Deshaun Watson is one of the best quarterbacks we have in the league here. But that would be one of the only things, I wouldn't have been too mad if they went Tannehill, but probably the only thing I got to debate here.
Yeah, same. Honestly, Watson's the only kind of borderline guy for me, but he still deserves it. This is a really good list. I have no complaints.
And then interesting to see from last year, we don't have Lamar Jackson on here anymore. Kyler Murray basically took his spot here for this list. So another thing to point out.
Well, Kyler Murray's in a different conference though.
Oh,
yeah. So
yeah, well, that would have been Josh Allen.
Josh Allen took his spot. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Moving on to the running backs. So, my biggest concern here was Josh Jacobs. For sure would have had either James Robinson over him, or even a guy like Jonathan Taylor, I think has having a better season than Josh Jacobs, for sure. What do you guys think about this one?
Joel?
Chubb, just because when he does play is so great, but I think like him and AJ Brown are in kind of similar situations. They're so good when they played, but they also missed a big chunk of time. I definitely would have liked to see James Robinson in there instead of Jacobs, because Jacobs he's had so many bad weeks. He's been super inconsistent. I think it's just because the Raiders are better overall as a team, and Jacksonville is Jacksonville, but Robinson had the numbers. I think he definitely deserved a spot as well instead of Jacobs. But as for the NFC, I think these three guys, I don't really think there's a debate. I think, I guess maybe Montgomery, but Montgomery struggled early. That's really the only guy that I can maybe see. But I think NFC, all, perfect to me. And then, Henry, of course, Chubb, I get that. And then I would probably just switch out Jacobs for James Robinson.
Yeah, I think you also got to point out, looking at the NFC, if Antonio Gibson continued to play and Aaron Jones wasn't as healthy as he ended up being towards the end of the season, I think Antonio Gibson could have had a shot. He has 11 touchdowns on the season. He's not going to play the rest of the year. So I think that was another thing we got to point out.
Yeah. I think maybe even Davis or CMC too, if they, CMC would have stayed healthier, Davis had some really good weeks in there. If he would have just been more consistent, I think they should have got some probably honorable mentions as well.
Saquon also wasn't involved, but yeah.
They could have just put in Lamar as a running back, to be honest.
Max.
He's had a better season rushing than Josh Jacobs. Moving on to the wide receivers. Stephon Diggs, it's good to see him in this elite pool of players next to Tyreek Hill and Keenan Allen. What a great season he's been having. And good to see the rookie, Justin Jefferson, in there. We've talked a lot about how great of a season he's been having. And Metcalf breaking into this Pro Bowl. I think it's his first Pro Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so great to see him, break in there with Hopkins and Adams. On the latter half of the AFC receivers, AJ Brown, he's been good, but I don't know. I don't know if I would have put him in over a guy like
Cole Beasley.
Honestly, yeah, Cole Beasley. But what's it called? What's his name? Calvin Ridley. There we go. Why did I blank out? Obviously,
Calvin really. Oh yeah,
there's a conference.
NFC.
Yeah, the conference thing,
Mhm.
but which is kind of dumb. I mean, they should just put in the best of the best. But yeah, I would have loved to see Calvin Ridley in here.
I mean, yeah, AJ Brown. We talked about it earlier in our Week 15 podcast. He hasn't had. He's probably going to barely scrap 1,000 yards, but he also has been a touchdown machine since he's been back healthy. So, I mean, it's good to see. I mean, I'd love to see Terry McLaurin find his way to make it, especially since now the big three from that draft class in there. But, I mean, we got to point out Tyreek Hill's been a touchdown machine this year. Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen have both been reception like crazy. And then DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson have been huge breakout candidates this year, which is good to see. And then honestly, I mean, Devontae Adams and DeAndre Hopkins are 1A, 1B this year when it comes to receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I really like this list. It's great to see those 2 second-year guys on there, but college teammates. That's awesome. I think Hill, Diggs, Adams, Hopkins, confirmed for sure. I think maybe see Jefferson or Metcalf swap for maybe a guy like Thielen. He was a touchdown monster. But I really like this list. I think Ridley could easily got in there as well. And yeah, I just I'm messing with this list. Another guy I think if you wouldn't have got suspended, I think Will Fuller could have maybe made a push the way he was playing. I think if he would have gotten these last few games, who knows, he could have surpassed AJ Brown. But yeah, I really like this list. I think just a couple guys. Ridley's like the main snub, but for the most part, I really enjoy this list.
Hey, don't forget Amari Cooper also on pace to crack 1,000 yards this season. So
now we got the most controversial one.
I mean, why is Evan Ingram there? That's my big question. I would have put in a guy like Bob Tonyan over him, every single day of the week. And obviously we've got the conference thing, but even Gesicki's been way better than Ingram, and so has Hunter Henry. So I just Ingram really does not deserve to be in here. He's been pretty much a dud every single week. He's had some weeks where he's good, but most weeks he's just so a non-factor in their offense.
Yeah, I mean, we also got to point out the tight end. Oh, go ahead, Joel.
No, you go first.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I mean, the tight end position has been really a dud this year. I mean, overall, like even whether it's fantasy, whether it's the NFL, I mean, really it's just Travis Kelce and Darren Waller. And then you got a few performances. TJ Hawkinson does well. Evan Ingram's had one like really good game overall. So, I mean, you've been dropping a lot of passes. I think it's just people are looking at, Evan Ingram has a high Madden rating. Like that's literally all they're looking at, which is, kind of buffoonery.
It's just name value. Sometimes it's just really just name value. But yeah, obviously if Kittle was healthy, he would be in here. Even a guy like Logan Thomas, I would take over Evan Ingram, to be honest.
Yeah, I would not be mad at all. The only thing that with Ingram that I could see like why he got it is like because of his blocking or whatever, but that's not it. And their offense is terrible. They're like they're like last in the NFC. It doesn't make any sense. Like I think they literally just picked him for like what he could be, like not what he actually did. Yeah. It's just ridiculous.
He has 2 touchdowns this year. Robert Tonyan has 10.
It doesn't make any sense. Rip Tonyan.
Oh, let me just end this. All right. Do we want to dive a little bit into defense at all, boys?
Sure. Okay.
All right. We'll dive into the defensive ends. I feel like that's something I got a little thing to speak about over here.
Yeah, that's all you.
Screen. Yeah. Jose, do you want to chip into this or should I just take the lead?
I mean, it's great to see Chase Young in there. I know you're gonna spit some controversy, but yeah, I mean the guys that I wanted to see in there are in there, like Bosa, Garrett, and Chase Young.
Yeah. I mean, I think. Well, yeah. To start off with Chase Young, I mean, he might not even be the best pass rusher on his team at this point. He definitely will be, but you got to look at Montez Sweat's been doing well. I mean, obviously Ryan Kerrigan isn't who he is, but. So we take a minute to pull up these stats. Okay, Frank Clark has been abysmal. He's like below like the top 25 in like sacks, which is, really what like determines like a defensive end, or, if he's going to be a run stopper. But I mean, he's getting the name value because he plays for the Chiefs. I mean, I think he has 5 sacks this season. I think him and both Chase Young and Frank Clark both have 5 sacks this season. I think the things we got to point out. Let's just take a look. Trey Hendrickson's been having a breakout season out in New Orleans. Even though people will get mad because there's 2 New Orleans defenders out there, Cam Jordan is one of the best defensive ends that we've seen in the last couple of years. He's been crazy good with his production. I mean, take Chase Young out there. As much as it's good to see, someone like of his talent, getting a lot of Pro Bowl votes. Trey Hendrickson should be in there. But the thing is, it also gets a little complicated because like some people that like defensive ends and edge rushers, like linebacker sort of situation there. But I mean, Emmanuel Ogbah's been having a really good year out there for the Miami Dolphins. And even Leonard Williams, who's been coming on as of recently, he had a big game. I think against the Seahawks, he had like 2.5 sacks. He's got 8.5 on the season. I mean, he's also been, forcing some fumbles out there. Emmanuel Ogbah's got 3 forced fumbles. It's just sad. I mean, it's how the Pro Bowl vote works. It's the same thing. The NBA has been able to clear it up for their All-Star game. They have like that 50-50 split. I think they need to see that with coaches because coaches are the ones that, they're game planning. I don't think people, when they go against the Chiefs, they're the most worried on the defensive line about Frank Clark. I think it's Chris Jones. Chris Jones is one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league. But just interesting to see how the Pro Bowl voting continues to work. But it usually all gets fixed out when it comes to All-Pro.
True.
He also paid that man Frank Clark, so he probably has some type of incentives in there in his contract that if he makes a Pro Bowl, he gets a couple extra $20,000 or whatever.
Yeah. And I know Brian Burns is one that a lot of people were sad about because he's been, coming out of FSU. He had a pretty solid, really promising rookie season. And, his 8 sacks this year. He's got 3 forced fumbles. Another person who could have been put ahead against Chase Young or even Brandon Graham. So
I think Jordan just got in on like name value because, like you said, I think Hendrickson's been like way better this year. I mean, Jordan's like still had a good year, but I mean, the fact that you're 3rd in sacks and like not making a Pro Bowl is like pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, and then I think this one, I think all of us can even chime in on this one. I think the obvious answer here, who should be put in instead of Calais Campbell.
DeForest Buckner, man.
I mean, he had a crazy game. He had we literally just talked about just filmed our week 15.
He's been ridiculous this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's been good for his entire career once he started breaking out.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a fumble recovery. He's been a monster for that Colts team. It was a mutually beneficial trade. The Niners, like, they didn't have to pay DeForest Buckner. Instead they went with Eric Armstead, who had a really promising season. Probably got him for a little bit less than what they would have paid for DeForest Buckner. And then, they got Kinlaw out of the deal. But, I mean, Calais Campbell is just getting, again, off name value, which is how this thing continues to work.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Quinnen Williams also could have been in here, someone that we've mentioned a few times. He's been doing pretty well. I mean, then again, he's on the Jets, who just got their first win of the season. So.
And he just got hurt. I think, did you say he was done for the year? Yeah.
He is out for the year. Yeah. Well, I don't know if there's too much to mention. I know some other snubs that were included. Jesse Bates for Cincinnati wasn't a safety that made the list. And, I don't think it was too crazy. I know Seattle did have both their safeties on there. Something we were talking about before we hopped on this.
Yeah.
How about Seattle has so many defensive players, yet they have one of the worst defenses in the league.
Yeah, I think it's just all like stats because those guys do have like really good stats, like sacks and whatnot. But yeah, it's just like it's weird to see like those guys get rewarded for a defense that's been like so terrible. But like you guys said, I think that would be like reflected on the All-Pro teams, which I think a lot of these guys would much rather have that than like a Pro Bowl. I mean, they're not even really gonna get to have a Pro Bowl this year. Like,
are they not?
I mean, and usually, no, it's all in Madden.
Oh.
And then usually the team that goes to the championship, the 2 teams, they don't have their players go, and usually they're the ones with a lot of people. So then those people get filled in with other positions. So yeah. But just like looking at the cornerback list, I'll flash it up here real quick. It's good to see Xavier Howard up there. 9 interceptions is crazy, but I think you can argue that Stephon Gilmore isn't even the best cornerback on his team this year. J.C. Jackson's been he's been locking down those receivers. He's also been getting a lot of interceptions, which is good to see. But I don't think they missed on anything else. Jalen Ramsey's been one of the most lockdown corners this year. Same with Jair Alexander, and James Bradbury's really broken that. But I know there's some controversy about Marshawn Lattimore, but I think it comes again off the name value in this situation. Yeah. And then, I don't think there's too much to add, boys. You got anything else to say?
No, I mean,
man.
I was overall mostly happy with the list. It's a few things on there, and they still have to add a couple more spots from that NFL video game numbers challenge on Madden. So, we're going to see a couple more guys get added in there. Hopefully Tanyan and Ridley make it on the NFC.
Yeah.
But obviously you're not going to see anyone opt out of the Pro Bowl from injury if it's not going to happen. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
no, I like the list. There's not really there's barely any crazy glaring mistakes. I think they did a really good job. Everyone that and the guys that were kind of borderline or whatever, they still deserved it as well. It's just there's other guys that could have been in there as well. Yeah. So I really liked it. It was not it wasn't really too much crazy controversy besides Buckner. That's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah,
but he should be all pro. He'll get recognized.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Either way, he got paid.
Right.
I don't think he's tripping.
And he got that fat bag, so I think he's chilling regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, good list.
I mean, if you think about it, I mean, the Colts are probably going to go farther than the Ravens this year. So, I mean, at least he's got that over Calais.
Yep.
What if they end up beating the Ravens in the playoffs?
Ooh.
That'd be a pretty decent matchup. I like that. I mean, the Colts don't have, the craziest of offenses. And then the two really solid defenses, though. The Colts is kind of what makes their name out there. Xavier Rhodes has been playing super well at cornerback. Julian Blackman's been one of the biggest steals at safety this year. And then, the crazy front seven. Oh, yeah, Kenny Moore. Obviously had that big interception. But Darius Leonard coming back to what he used to be in that rookie form. I know he had a pretty down year last year compared to what he'd had in his rookie season, being an all-pro. And then,
they're just the football team to me. They're just a quarterback away. Oh, I mean, they're receiver. They could maybe use another weapon outside, but they're still serviceable. They're just a quarterback away. I feel like their overall team is really good.
If Andrew Luck did not retire, I
know. Oh my God.
They would be 13-1 right now. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I think they'd be right up there with the Chiefs. They'd be right there with the Bills as well. They'd be top contender for years. Sad. Sucks, man.
All right. Ready to wrap this up?
Yep.
That's going to do it for this week. Thank you guys all for watching. And this has been the Coast to Coast Pro Bowl episode. This is Jose signing out.
Hey, make sure you guys subscribe. We'd love the support for the channel. And like Jose said, signing out.